All right. Was it 228 in December?
Yeah, that was only 93 months ago.
Make me light and lean.
Come on, baby.
Okay, so we are officially in peak week. It is March 20th, which puts us 5 days out from the show. Calories and macros increase a little bit today, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. We're going to do a carb backloading approach Thursday and Friday before the show, which is Saturday. And right now we're doing our last DEXA scan of the hybrid cut. So we're waiting on results right now. And we'll find out where lean tissue is, fat tissue, and total body fat percentage. So here's what we got. Our lowest body fat that we saw was probably 2 weeks ago at this point.
Yep.
That was 7.5%. Today, it is 7.9%. Now keep in mind, total body fat percentage is a ratio to your total mass. So today I came in at 196.9 pounds total mass. This morning when I woke up, 5 a.m. after going to the bathroom, I was 191.4 pounds, which is pretty close to where I was for marathon prep. Fat tissue is down to 15.6 pounds. Lean tissue is at 173 pounds. Bone mineral content, 8.4. So lean tissue decreased a little bit and fat tissue decreased. However, the ratio of those made my total body fat increase slightly. So even though we lost more weight, we're getting leaner. The deeper we dug these last couple weeks, we definitely lost some lean tissue. Now that could be part because I'm so depleted right now. Like I'll start carbing up later this week. My muscles are fairly depleted of muscle glycogen, but that's where we're at 5 days out from the show. This is my second meal of the day, and it's pretty early. It's almost 10 a.m. This is 200 grams of rice, 8 ounces of chicken tenders, 1 cup of broccoli, 6 grams of coconut oil, and a serving of Primal Kitchen's buffalo sauce. Today's macros: 200 protein, 200 carb, 65 fat. So carbs went up, fats went up, protein went down as of today. And these are gonna be my macros until Thursday. Thursday and Friday, calories go up, carbs go up, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But we're in peak week. The big dig is over. Calories will start increasing. We'll start pulling back on cardio, which we'll talk about as well throughout this video. But the goal of this video, which is the last episode of the hybrid cut before the show day video, is really just talk about the changes we're making to peak week. You know, peak week, if done correctly, can make you look fuller and tighter on stage. Coconut oil, baby. So what I'm gonna do is go over my peak week plan. Now, if you don't know, I did bring on Brady Oak to coach me for the last couple of weeks. I got myself to a certain point in the diet, in the deficit, and then Brady is guiding me through peak week, and then Brady will be in Orlando for the show with us. So as of today, I'm not running anymore for the rest of prep. As soon as prep is over, I'm gonna start running again. I think for me, that's the hardest part at this point in the prep, is removing running and changing out my source of cardio. So my source of cardio right now is just walking on an incline treadmill. And I will talk about throughout this video some interesting changes that happened as soon as I stopped running and started walking on an incline treadmill. My weight essentially just dropped significantly, very fast, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. My plan for this week. So today is Monday. The plan for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday stays the same. It is 200 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, 65 grams of fat, keeping fiber less than 30 grams, keeping sodium fairly low, about normal or under 3,500 milligrams a day. For cardio, like I said, we are walking on an incline treadmill for 30 minutes in the morning. And then Thursday is where things start to change. So Thursday, my macros are 200 grams of protein, 275 grams of carbs, 75 grams of fat. And then Friday is the main load carb day. It is 165 grams of protein, 650 grams of carbs, and between 75 and 85 grams of fat. And I need to get about 450 to 500 grams of those carbs in before 12 p.m. So 2 weeks ago, we did a test. We did a test of a carb load. I guess it was 2 Fridays ago, I had 650 grams of carbs, and we monitored how I digested those carbs, assimilated those carbs, and filled out the next day. And it worked out seamlessly. So that's what we're going to replicate the day before the show this coming weekend. So Thursday, increase carbs a little bit. Friday, significantly increase carbs. It's gonna be interesting because I'll be traveling that day too, so I'm going to have to plan out my meals around travel. But that is the peak week plan. And then Saturday, we'll kind of just eat and drink water based off of look and feel, and Brady will be there guiding me through that process, which we'll document obviously for the show day video. But that is peak week. That's what we're doing in terms of nutrition, cardio. Training pretty much stays the same. We're just not gonna take training to failure, but decrease intensity by about 75% of what I was training prior to peak week. Cheers to peak week. Cheers to more food. Cheers to carving up and filling out. Every day matters. Every workout matters. Every meal matters. There is such a small margin of error. Don't allow yourself the choice. Don't allow yourself the opportunity to choose the easy road. Always choose the hard right. I have to own the outcome. We're not gonna do a whole ton of volume, and we're not gonna be doing a whole lot of sets towards failure. Really, the goal of the workouts this week is to maintain muscle fullness. As we start shuttling more carbs into the body, we wanna move those carbs towards the muscles. That's what these hypertrophy training sessions are achieving. We're not building muscle this week. Right, we're just trying to show up Saturday as full and tight as possible. And we don't want to be overly fatigued or tired. But just increasing carbs a little bit so far today can already feel a better pump, can feel tighter, more vascular. I felt pretty depleted the last couple days. So we'll start with lateral raises and then moving into some pressing movements.
Goth Boy Clever.
So I'm pretty happy with the conditioning that I brought during this prep, but I do want to make it pretty obvious that for me at least, to hold this level of conditioning is not sustainable. Like, I cannot do this long term. The goal was to get as lean as possible and then peak as well as possible to step up on stage this coming Saturday. But seeing how lean I am right now, I mean, you can see muscle separation, you can see vascularity. I would argue this is the leanest that I've ever been. I can't hold this level of conditioning for a long, sustainable period of time. There's a small window for which you can hold it, and I'm in that window right now.
Chief on the iced out with her with the limousine tints. You can suck my dick. Press switch up when you in the Benz truck. Hoes on fuck till the bitch good luck. Hoes on fuck cause it just came up. Drugs on my nose, good drugs in my cup.
You know, there's like an emotional feeling for a peak. I get the same feeling during a marathon prep and build. I have that same feeling right now. And it's an emotional feeling of a realization of all the work you've put in to get to this point. Like I talked about earlier, a peak week will not make or break you. I mean, I guess it can break you if you do all things wrong, but it's not gonna make the world of a difference. What makes the world of a difference is the prep, the journey to get to this point. Peak week is more of a refinement, almost recovery and rest before you're tested. Whether that's when the gun goes off and you start racing, or in this case, when you step on stage. But there's this emotional feeling of this awareness and realization of everything that went into this moment. The training, the diet, the preparation of foods, the intentionality behind the entire process. You won't have that emotional connection and feeling unless you actually put the work in, unless you actually show up day in and day out. So that when you get to this point right here that I'm in right now, you can actually say, I did everything I could. I put every ounce of effort into this preparation, and I'm proud of that process. And that's where this emotional feeling comes from. Doesn't matter what you're prepping for. This is the last superset of the workout. It is rope, tricep, cable pushdowns directly into bodyweight dips. We're gonna do this last superset and we'll see you guys back here in the morning for some cardio. Good morning. 4 days out officially. Morning weigh-in was 191.6. So to go over some of my historical weight data points, last couple weigh-ins on let's go back to March 10th. I was 195, then 195.8, then 195.5, then 195.5 again, then 196, then 194.4. Then there was a big drop on March 16th at 191.8. And this is really when I stopped running and I moved over to incline treadmill, which we'll talk about here in a little bit while I'm doing this morning's cardio. And then I went to 193, 192.5, 190.4, 191.4, and then this morning, 191.6. So I share those numbers to say that during a dieting phase, sometimes the numbers will not be just declining every single day. You're not going to have a low weigh-in every single day, but over a longer period of time, there should be a correlation with a weight loss trajectory. From day to day, you will have fluctuations, and that's normal. I've had fluctuations definitely throughout this prep, but if we look at the time from end of December until now, middle of March, close to the end of March, there's been a pretty significant decline in total body weight and body fat. But for the last 3 weeks, I've had trouble sleeping. Last night was a clear example of that, where I woke up at like 12:30, and then 1:30, and then 2:30, and I've really been up since 3:30 a.m. Just couldn't fall back asleep. Right now it's 5 a.m., and I'm just going to stay up for the day. But I've been experiencing sleep disturbances for the last 3 weeks now. So that's something I'm really looking forward to after this cut and prep is over, of being able to sleep throughout the night again. But I just wake up hungry. Like right now I'm starving. But I'm going to knock out cardio first, and then I'll have my first meal of the day. So cheers. 4 days out, baby. Peak week. Yes. So today's cardio is walking incline. I have it at a 10% grade, 3.5 speed. And we switched out running with incline treadmill walking about a week ago. And what we saw almost immediately is my weight dropped significantly, like pounds. And I think we can look at that and ask the question why. And it's got to be because of fatigue management and reducing cortisol and inflammation. As we've dug deeper into the cut, and I've been in a big caloric deficit that creates a lot of stress in the body, running itself is stressful to the body. So I was adding these layers of high stress, semi-high impact performance and nutrition deficits. And as soon as we removed some of that stress, and now we're mitigating and controlling stress better with variables such as different forms of cardio, my body kind of just was able to relax a little bit better, maybe function more optimally. So 30 minutes on here today, it's a great way to just get more steps in, increase or add some energy expenditure. But it's crazy to see what happened to my body when we switched out running with incline treadmill walking. Now, I do want to be very clear, because I'm sure people are going to hear this and think, oh, well, if I'm trying to lose weight, I shouldn't run. Or running is making me hold body weight and body fat. No, that's not the case. It's just that given the conditions that I'm in right now, lower body fat, very low calories, my body's kind of in starvation mode. It's just a variable that we had to manipulate and change based off of my current conditions. Running is not bad. It's not going to make you hold and store weight or body fat necessarily, but depending on the goal, we should choose options or training to facilitate that goal. I think if there's one thing we've realized and learned throughout this whole series is that running does not necessarily complement or support competitive bodybuilding, stepping on stage, which I assumed going into, but it got real the last couple weeks. So we'll knock out this cardio, listen to a Huberman podcast, and then make breakfast. So meal one today is 150 grams of egg whites, 3 whole eggs, which, because fats went up this week, for peak week, we're now at 65 grams of fat a day. Having whole eggs back in my diet is probably what I'm most excited about. Love whole eggs. So 3 whole eggs, 150 grams of egg whites, and then I have a piece of sourdough in the toaster. And I weighed it out this morning. It's 60 grams of sourdough. Gotta be precise, super precise. Listen to this crunch right here. What's gonna make this piece of sourdough so much better in about a week is some Kerrygold's butter and jam on this bad boy. You get some Kerrygold on there, a little sweetness, a little buttery, and you do one of those crunches. Right now it's just dry, but I'm thinking about that butter and jam, and it's gonna be so freaking good. But right now it's pretty dry. Pretty dry. Give me my water. You smell so good. Whole eggs, man. They just slap on a different level. Oh. Sourdough, made right down the road at Easy Tiger Bakery. These eggs. Get in me. This wraps up the series. The next video we post after this will be the show day video. We're a few days out. It's peak week. And what I wanted to say is thank you so much for all the support throughout this journey, throughout this series, throughout this prep. I appreciate it more than you know. And it's been a journey. For myself, Yoli, Ian, Jordan, the team that's been behind this series and this prep and documenting the whole thing. But we're gonna wrap it up here. We'll see you guys show day. Again, thank you. We love you. And we'll see you in the next video.